Well, Republicans have a big, beautiful, bold, and brilliant new strategy for winning the midterms this year. And the amazing thing is, they're admitting it out loud. They're telling us what it is, and it's terrible. And they're not afraid to admit it, though. And that's the weird thing. But GOP pollsters and strategists have unveiled a new plan that basically boils down to this. Yep, we suck, but they're worse. That's their plan. We suck, but they're worse. The other part of the plan that they're admitting to is they're just going to use hate. They're going to use hate, and they're not afraid to say it. Uh, hello, MAGA Christians, they're using hate. That's their strategy. Okay. I mean, the GOP has literally hit rock bottom in their outlook for the 2026 midterms. And I'm going to show you what some top GOP pollsters are saying. And it's some of the most negative talk I've ever heard from pollsters when they're talking about their own party and the campaigns that they represent. And bad news for them is, you know what, for who? Bad news for them is good news for us. So let me share a little bit of this good news with you from Axios, and let's see if we can make heads or tails of this crazy new thing. I mean, it's literally all they got. So, crazy or not, it's all they got to go with it. But GOP midterm strategy, make it a hate election. And that's what they're saying. They're admitting we're going to make it about hate. Republicans admit the GOP's midterm forecast is bleak, but they're clinging to two hopes: voters' fear and loathing of Democrats. It's going to be a hate election, a Republican tied to President Trump's political operation told Axios. Voters have to hate the Dems more than they hate us. And we have material to work with. I don't know. I mean, they may think they have material to work with, or they're just, blowing smoke on us. But all the polls show that, yeah, maybe both parties are hated by the voters, but Republicans are hated far worse. That's why Trump's underwater by 10, 15, even 20 points, because they hate Republicans more than Democrats. So even that is a strategy, is a desperate, desperate strategy. There's broad GOP frustration that Trump has made challenging midterm elections worse by not focusing heavily on pocketbook issues, especially the tax cuts Republicans won while launching the Iran war, which raised gas prices and fueled inflation. So these geniuses think that if they can go back and get Trump to tout the Republican tax cuts, that'll do the trick. People will be so grateful for those tax cuts. But I'll tell you something, those tax cuts were spent the first time people filled up their tanks after the Iran war started. I mean, the whole tax cut went up into gasoline, which then later went up into smoke. So, yeah, it went up into smoke, into smoke after he started the Iran war, just in gas prices alone and the increase in gas prices. The president who promised he would get gas below $2 a gallon got it up over $4 a gallon. So pretty good job if going up is your goal, which for him, a businessman, business always wants prices to go up. So anyway, they wanted to elect a businessman because they thought he'd be so brilliant and, do the right thing. But they forget business people want prices to go up. And he did that. So they kind of got what they should have seen coming, I guess. All right. Trump's primetime speech last week about China's alleged influence campaign targeting U.S. voters 6 years ago did little to assuage voters' concerns. And yeah, this whole thing was a nightmare bringing this up. Uh, John Cornyn of Texas says, I have yet to understand how we win the midterms by talking about what happened in 2020. That is a very good point. And then Trump hopes his speech will pressure Congress to pass his controversial Save America Act and excite his base voters to turn out. But GOP pollsters and election pros outside of the White House say it's falling on deaf ears. I mean, honestly, if Trump would just stop doing what Trump does, then maybe they could turn it around. But he just can't stop being himself. So somebody needs to tell him just for the next few months, don't be yourself. Look, the thing is, this is his gripe about this, the 2020 election. Nobody else cares about that now. They want to know, what are you doing for me now? What have you done for me in the last year and a half? What's going on with my wallet? Why is it a lot lighter than it used to be? Why am I paying so much more not only for groceries, but now skyrocketing gas prices on top of that? What are you going to do for me? And he's out there going, I lost the election. It's unfair. We're going to get to the bottom of it. No one else cares about getting to the bottom of it but him. He's the one who got hurt and can't take it. Can't be a man and say, okay, I lost. Oh man. So anyway, he thinks somehow that's going to motivate Republican voters, but all it did last time was demotivate them because they thought, you know what? If the elections aren't safe, why should I bother going out to vote? If my vote's not going to count, I'm not going to go. And it came out in the Georgia senatorial elections that Ossoff and Warnock won, both Democrats. That a lot of Republicans in Georgia thought the voting's not secure, so my vote will be wasted. My efforts will be wasted. So they didn't go vote. Okay. He's lining up the exact same scenario this time because he's a genius. Yep. That's what happens when you elect smart people in your party. They they're going to bring you down with their intelligence. He is a genius. He passed that cognitive exam like 40 times and no one else can pass it. No one. He's the only one who's ever passed it. Okay, so a Republican pollster said, we've studied this and it's not a winner. He's worked on multiple nationwide races. He says, our research shows people want the president to make their lives better, and they don't believe he has. Sorry, I can't remember if I just read that or not, but if I did, I apologize. The pollsters' data now indicates that Democrats could wind up with a 7-seat majority in the House, where Republicans currently have a 6-seat majority. Seriously, that's it? I mean, honestly, they should get a 70-seat majority, as far as I'm concerned. I don't see how it's possible they could only get 7 seats, but that's what they're saying here. Although I haven't seen that number elsewhere. That does seem a little low. Anyway, we'll see what happens. A Washington Post Ipsos poll out last Thursday showed Trump's net approval rating was even worse among registered voters. So it's -10 among the general population as a whole, but it's -19 among registered voters. So that's not good. That's not good. Friction point. Democrats also have poor favorability ratings, and Republicans plan to use the Democrats' Tea Party-like revolt by progressives to paint the entire party as radicals who can't be trusted to govern. Not going to go far with that because we've just seen you govern for the last year and a half, and we know we can't trust you. So I think a lot of people are willing to throw caution to the wind and let's try something else. Swing voters have a persistent fear the Democrats will just go too far left, said a second GOP pollster with an array of clients across the nation. So listen to this very carefully. This is their case in chief. The GOP pollster says, swing voters think Democrats will go too far. So we can make the case that, yeah, we suck, but they're worse. Can you imagine? The first part of his case is, we suck. That's the slogan. That's the motto of this year's GOP campaign. We suck. Unbelievable. Really unbelievable. Oops, sorry about that. So that's where they're stuck at. They're stuck at we suck. And another pollster echoed the first. He said the president has got to start talking about things people really care about, like tax cuts, and not all this other stuff. But we know he just won't. Yeah, and that's right. He will not do that for sure. So they're stuck and they suck. Okay, both political parties have similar low approval ratings in the eyes of voters, according to a Pew Research poll. A majority of voters consistently view Trump as dishonest, even in red states, including Texas, But I got to say, in Texas, they don't seem to care if you're dishonest. Ken Paxton, anyone? And Republicans counting on voters hating liberal Democrats more than them might consider this. A CNBC poll out Friday found voters now are more likely to be turned off by a MAGA candidate than a Democratic Socialist. So Republicans are so unpopular that they've made socialism great again. Good job, guys. Good job, Trump. You're doing a good job. Your daddy always said you'd amount to something. He was right. Anyway, why are Republicans so dour on their chances this year? Well, those things we just talked about. And how about a couple of more things, like a widening war with Iran, 17 American service members dead, more than 100 injured in the latest escalation, thousands of civilian casualties in Iran, billions of dollars lost in Iran, billions of dollars lost in skyrocketing gas prices. Then there are the American citizens killed during immigration operations, and but not only American citizens, legal immigrants as well, and people who were here legally and have committed no crimes. They've been executed in the streets of America and left to die in ICE prisons by this administration. Or how about this? A president who pulled the rug out from under Ukraine and cozied up to Russia and blamed Ukraine for Russia attacking them and claims Ukraine has no right to self defense, while being a staunch defender of the Second Amendment and all those right to what do they call them, right to defend laws around the country, where people are given the right to shoot somebody who uh, annoys them a little bit in the streets. You know, if somebody comes up to them and is doing something that seems a little threatening, they have the right to shoot them. But Ukraine doesn't have the right to shoot back when fired upon by Russia. Anyway, he's a president who always seems to choose the wrong side and who always chooses wrong over right. A president who can't tell the truth from lies, a president who is a human lie detector. Because if he tells you something's true, you know it's a lie. And vice versa. If he tells you something's a lie, you know it's true. Or how about how hard he's worked to recklessly destroy our government? 17 independent inspectors general illegally fired, mass unlawful federal worker terminations, congressionally approved money improperly withheld, unconstitutional executive orders punishing disfavored law firms. Or how about how hard he's worked to corrupt our system of justice with illegal firings of Justice Department attorneys because they told the truth and followed the law, and corrupt, unethical appointments of attorneys who lie and disobey the law, criminal cases dismissed because of the administration's mismanagement of the DOJ. There's war, skyrocketing gas prices, instability, attacking our allies, and giving aid and comfort to our enemies. And that literally just barely scratches the surface of all this man has done wrong. So when Republican strategists say, yeah, we suck, that statement isn't exactly suffering from a lack of supporting evidence, is it? The fact that they know it and are willing to openly admit it to a reporter who they know will publish it just shows how bad it really is. So let's stay on the ball and keep informing people of all these things who aren't as aware of them as you and I are. And let's beat this virus out of our system in November. Okay. All right. That's it for me. I appreciate you watching. I will see you soon. Take care.